Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. I like to care for different types of houseplants, propagate them, and then share my experiences with you here on YouTube so you can better take care of your plants and share them with your friends. If you're into that kind of videos, please do consider subscribing to my channel and send this video a like. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing the care and propagation of the Philodendron sharoniae. First of all, I got this plant as a tiny plant. It was probably about 2 to 3 leaves when I got it about 1 year ago. And this plant has really grown for me beautifully, and it can withstand a little bit of neglect and abuse because I had this growing in my balcony, and then I moved it into a little bit of direct sunlight out on my in front of my dining table, and I moved it here to the nursery area where it's getting bright indirect light and maybe a little touch of direct sunlight, like 15-20 minutes of direct sunlight when the sun is at the right angle, and it seems to be doing okay. Of course, do not put it in full sun or bright afternoon sun, as it will fry the leaves, as with any other philodendrons. Good bright indirect light with maybe a little bit of direct sunlight so that you can have these fast growing, big, huge leaves with shorter internodes. If you grew them in lower light conditions, it will probably have longer internodes. It will probably be wonky. It will not grow so well for you. As with other philodendrons, you want to water this when it's completely dry. Let it dry out a bit. Do not overwater it. And it's very forgiving too with neglect because I've forgotten to water this a few times and it did not give me any browning, it did not give me any problems. So this is actually a very easy to care for philodendron considering how rare it is. It's also a very fast growing one. And in terms of fertilizing, I fertilize it the same way I do with all my other houseplants. If you haven't seen my fertilizing video, please do check it out. And I don't have any pest pressures on this plant. However, I did notice that there are extra floral nectaries, these spots on the leaves, and also on the stems and on the petiole. This is when the plant has developed a symbiotic relationship with ants, where it will invite the ants to come and eat its sugars. So it's going to secrete sugars not from its flowers, but from the leaves and from the petiole and from the main stem. And in return, the ants will protect this plant from pests. So I'm not sure if extra floral nectaries is caused by the plant being stressed by pests in the first place, which triggered all these spots here, because they do take energy to produce sugar. So somehow the plant decided to invite the ants to come and protect this plant. I'm not sure about that. Maybe that's a topic for another day, but I'm grateful that the ants are protecting this plant. So I got this plant when it was really small, and I started training it up a moss pole very early on, and it was super easy to, I basically tied the first few leaves onto the moss pole, make sure that the nodes, the aerial roots on the nodes are kissing the moss pole. And once a few nodes already took hold of the moss pole, it just found its own way up. I did not even have to do anything. It just started gripping into the moss pole and it grew beautiful and huge leaves. If you want big leaves, fast growing plants, do make sure that you give them a moss pole, especially for this sharoniae, which has such a beautiful vertical element to it. This plant was actually quite expensive when I got it, but now the prices have skyrocketed. This is pretty hard to find now. It's really crazy. And I actually am going to cut this up into pieces, grow a few for myself, and I did promise one of them for a trade. So that's very exciting. And this is probably going to be the most expensive plant that I've ever propagated. Just full disclosure, I'm a little bit nervous about it. But of course, down the road, if I can grow multiples of these and sell a few cuttings, maybe get me a nursery to buy more plants, that would be a pretty good goal, I would say. So without further ado, let's get started with propagating. I will be cutting this up into pieces, and then I'm going to give you guys a few months update. So yeah, this plant is actually really beautiful. It can get much bigger than this. This is still probably a juvenile form. They can get, I don't know, human sized, and love the crazy six packs that it has. Very mean. Please pardon the water spots, but it's just such a beautiful plant. It's huge. And it makes a statement in any space. It's going to be a conversation starter. So I really recommend this. Hopefully the prices will go down someday and everyone can have one of these. Very pretty. I've actually prepared this plant for propagation about 2 months ago, where I wrapped this up, put some sphagnum moss in here, and kept the sphagnum moss a little bit humid. And as you can see, roots has formed in here. So this means that the propagation success rate is going to be pretty high. And I haven't decided yet if the roots are actually really well established. I can actually start putting it directly into potting mix. I don't even need to put it in moss anymore. So let's see. Let's start opening up this beauty soon. This is actually quite pretty from the back too. Pretty good view. Look at that. Okay, so let me start unwrapping the air layered bits. Really nice. Whoa, I have to give you guys some B-rolls later. And this can be used again and again, so do not throw this away. But yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a close-up later after I open up more of these. Oh, this is so nice. Very pretty. I'm so glad I invested in the time to make these pockets of air layering. Very nice. Yeah, let me give you guys a close-up. So here's the top. Very pretty. Look at those fuzzy roots. Very interesting. And then this one is doing really well too. Get all those roots is all around. I hope that it's not gripped too well into the moss pole, because if it will grip into it, I may have to cut the moss pole up, cut it by the wire mesh here. This is the last one. Look at this one tiny root. Very cute. Yeah. Okay, so moment of truth. I'm gonna start taking out a little bit of the sphagnum moss. In my previous air layering, I've actually added too much moss, and there was a lot to get rid of in my Philodendron melanochrysum. And this is just the right amount of moss, I think. It's hugged really well into this. I don't even know how to take it out now. It's literally like going round and round. So this is going to, and I see some roots going into the moss pole. This is probably turning into a disaster of a video, actually. Let me see. What should I do? What should I do? Okay, I'm going to take off as much moss as possible, and I'm gonna leave you guys because this video will turn into a few hours long. Hello, I'm back. Yoo-hoo, I'm actually behind the camera. This is the top cutting I want to show you. This new leaf, how pretty. And what's going on here is that the node has actually rooted really well into the moss pole, sorry. And I just decided to keep portion of the moss pole in there since it's so happy. I'm going to probably just put this straight into aeroid potting mix because there's so many roots already. And this sheet here actually rotted off really badly, and I don't know if this is damaged. I guess this is one of the risks of air layering, is that you may actually rot something here if there's too much moisture, if it's wet all the time. I think I got it though. This is looking okay. I got it in the nick of time. I should not have kept it. I shouldn't keep it any longer in there. So that's one. And then this is the next one that I got. This one came off pretty easily, but there's not a lot of roots in here, so I may put this into sphagnum moss instead of the aeroid potting mix. And next we have this baby over here. This one has a little bit better roots than before, but yeah, this is going into moss as well because I don't think it's ready for the potting mix yet. It's not enough roots. And this last one here is decided to attach itself to the moss pole. So yeah, it's well rooted, I think. Yeah, this is probably good enough for the aeroid potting mix. Yeah, I'm gonna do that and make sure to take this sheath off because this may rot and promote rot to the plant. Just take this off. I'm gonna rub some activated charcoal as well to the wounds. Make sure that, and when I plant it, I want to make sure that I plant it above so that the top wound is not in the potting mix. I'm going to be cutting those up into a million pieces. So the top of this pot actually is a little bit scary because I put it here in my nursery where a lot of the debris or dead leaves actually fall onto the top of this pot. And what happens is that I think it's bringing in fungi. So I see sometimes in some of the pots, not this one particularly, but you see the dead leaves here. And some of them, they bring the fungi, and it's called southern blight. And it's very, very deadly for plants. I actually do spray this down with fungicide to be sure, but in hindsight, sphagnum moss may not have been a good media to put here. Excuse my throat. Because the sphagnum moss is a really ideal condition for the southern blight, for the fungi to live in. So I'm going to unpot this entirely, cut up more cuttings from here, and then see what viable nodes we have down there and repot it. So this is a pretty big surgery. And then any sphagnum moss that I have on here, I'm not gonna reuse because they may be contaminated with the fungi. Maybe, I'm not sure. I just want to be on the safe side. Anyways, this moss pole is gone. I need to give this a new moss pole eventually. So let me take it out of the pot. The roots are really well attached to the terracotta. I'm so sorry, excuse me. Oh my god, okay. Let me see, I'm gonna wet this first because when it's wet, it's a little bit slimier and I don't break the roots when I'm doing it. I'm back and I really doused this with a lot of water. Oh, it's really, really snug in there. It's really happy in there. What should I do? I need to get this out though. Oops, sorry. Shouldn't have done that, but that came right off. So let me see. It's really root bound in there. I see some beautiful roots. If you asked me a year ago if I can imagine myself doing this on YouTube, I would laugh at myself. But here I am. Try to get it out sideways. Oh my gosh. I'm not the most patient person in the world. I really am not. I see a big ant on my Hoya macrophylla. It's just running around. It's huge. Oh yeah, it's coming right off. So there. Very healthy. I guess most of the roots are just circling on the top. The bottom part here is not that root bound yet. Very nice. Yeah. So let's continue with our program. This is a lot of roots, man. This plant is actually pretty mature to have this much roots. In case you were wondering, this is my air raid potting mix, and I attribute my big leaves to this mix because it's chunky. It's like full of coconut chips. So the plant is really gripped in there. It thinks that it's climbing, that's why it's giving you big leaves. If you give it like a mushy potting mix, it's not going to give you big leaves. It's going to produce pretty small, very terrestrial type leaves. Because this plant thinks that it's actually climbing up something to get more light, get more fighting chance of survival. Yeah, so if you haven't seen in my air raid potting mix video, I do have that, so do check it out. Oh man, okay. How deep do I want to go? For sure, I'm gonna take this one cutting and cut it off right now. This one doesn't have aerial roots, which is very scary. I'm going to be propagating this in water. Let me give you a close-up actually. So here's that cutting, and as you can see, the aerial root here is a little bit dried off. I see this is the growing eye. Do you see the little plant here? So what happens is that when I put this in water, if I put this in sphagnum moss or soil, it's going to rot. Like it's just going to rot the stem. There's not enough roots here to pull moisture up. So there's two scenarios from here. One could be that if I put it in water, the aerial roots will start growing out, which I doubt because this is so dried up looking. So this is a very, very scary. Oh, I see some pretty good aerial roots back here. And then the second option would be that this in water, this growing eye may put out a new leaf, and that new leaf will have an aerial root. And that aerial root is what's going to support the new plant. This old leaf and old node is just going to be useless at some point. Let me go down a few more nodes. I'm so greedy today. I am super greedy. This one also have dried up aerial roots. Yeah, I'm gonna wash this off later. I don't see a growing eye on this one. So this is a high chance of failure. I think, yeah, I'm gonna leave these 3 leaves, I guess. I was gonna leave only like 1 or 2, but you know, I'm feeling generous today. I'm gonna leave these 3, and you know what? I'm gonna give this a smaller pot. Hopefully this will give me more than 1 branch, because based on experience, the plants, when you cut them off, they'll give you, especially when you cut them off like so excessively, they have so many, look at all these roots. It has enough roots to support a big plant. So if you do that, it's gonna branch out, give you multiple branches basically. Yeah, much better. There. Okay, let's get back to business. I'm going to be potting these up in these translucent containers, because I do want to see, what do you call it? I do want to see, this is going in water. I want to see, hang on, I'm lost in thought. I lost another cutting. Oh, this one, sorry. These 2 are going in water. I want to see the roots up here. So this is actually very wet. Hang on, this is too wet for my liking. I'm going to squeeze the water out. This is just aeroid potting mix that we used before. I'm just going to reuse it. Although, I don't know, am I afraid of fungi? No, I'm fine. I'll risk it. Just use a little bit. I may spray some fungicide on this just in case, because that previous pot may or may not be. Hang on, I forgot to apply charcoal. So yeah, the charcoal will it will help reduce the incidence of rot. So I'm gonna apply it just in the bottom of the where I made the cut. And then, you know what, I'm just gonna do the top as well. I'm just gonna rub it on. Yeah, and that's all set. I'm not even gonna really compact it down. I'm just gonna let it be a little bit airy, keep it humid. Okay, so this top cutting is going into aeroid potting mix as well, because it's got enough roots, I think. Oh, and before I forget, I'm gonna rub a bit of the activated charcoal. I need to keep reminding myself, keep this on the dry side. Do not overwater it, because I'm an overwaterer. This thing needs to just be a little bit humid on the inside for the roots to find its place and to grow into. And the other ones are going to sphagnum moss. Here's some sphagnum moss. I may squeeze the water out, squeeze it out. You don't want soggy wet sphagnum moss. This leaf keeps falling forward. I'm gonna put something here, hang on. I found a coconut husk. I'm just gonna put it right here on the neck, so it's, yeah, now it's standing upright. Thank you for your patience, for being with me here. So there you go. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is not a sharoniae. I've got 6 Philodendron sharoniae cuttings and a parent plant down there. So wish me luck. I will update you guys in a few months to see how they're doing. Place your bets now, ladies and gentlemen. See how many of these I managed to not kill. So here's a 2 months update on the plant, and in today's clip I'm only going to be showing you one of the cuttings, and this is the top cutting that we took. It gave me a baby leaf. Look how beautiful it is. And with top cuttings, the babies are going to be quite big, but the other cuttings are going to produce smaller leaves initially. And this is putting out a third leaf that's coming along the way. Look how pretty. This is why you should air layer your plants before you propagate it, so that they will propagate faster and easier. And the reason I'm showing you this video today and not the other cuttings is because I wanted to put this into actual pot and also to give it a moss pole. So I'm going to show you how I train baby plants up a moss pole, because I find that this is very, very important. So let me take this out. Look at that. Oh my god, this is so pretty. Look at that. Look at the fuzzy white roots. This is doing quite well. This pot is not very pot bound yet, but it's okay. I'm actually going to give it a more permanent pot here where it's going to probably spend most of its life in. I'm going to put that in. I have to be very careful with the baby leaf so not to tear it, because it's very, very delicate at this point. Maybe I'm gonna, lift this up. I'm gonna put a little bit of aeroid potting mix down there. Give it a moss pole. Keep in mind that the moss pole has to hit the back of the leaf where the aerial roots are. I don't know if I frame. Yeah, there. So the back of the petiole where the aerial roots come from has to kiss the moss pole. So this is how the plant will find it. I'm gonna just start potting this up with aeroid potting mix, which means that I can safely water this even almost every day, I would say. But lightly, not heavily, because it can get overwatered. Because this is going to be an airy and chunky potting mix. It is not as prone to overwatering. But it's done. How cute is that? I love my job. I love doing this. I can do this all day. So again, I want to kind of secure the moss pole. I want to jam it down to make sure that it doesn't flop around. And then, finally, I have some sphagnum moss here. I can squeeze out the water a bit. And just kind of leave it here where the aerial root can find the moss pole. And I may actually do that whenever possible. When I see that there's a new node, I'm going to put some sphagnum moss between the node and the moss pole, because it will put out the aerial roots better that way. And also when the plant is not too gripped into the media, I can also cut it up and propagate it easier than if I didn't do that. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much done. I just need to give this a little bit of pesticide, fungicide. It's been raining a lot lately, so I put fungicide on everything, slow release fertilizer, and I guess I will see you guys in a few weeks to show you everybody. Welcome to a 14 weeks update on the plant. More than 3 months. It's the longest philodendron to propagate. I kept waiting for this leaf to open up, but it just wouldn't open up, so it's just staring out of the window all day long. And that's a west-facing window, although it does get a little bit of direct sunlight. There's a tree in the way, so the leaf itself looks fine, but it's just putting out this really long shoot. So it's going to be a big leaf that's coming up soon. And I see some roots happening down here. So this is a happy plant. So this is care for indoors, the others are all outdoors. So I basically water this kind of lightly every day. I check for condensation here. Don't want it to be too wet, but I just want it to be humid, so make sure that there's a little bit of condensation here, and just water it kind of lightly almost every day. Just water it on the top. There's some Philodendron here because I saw too many ants crawling around, which means that there may be some other pests, and now the ants are gone. So the ones that we propagated in water are dead. So now I have 2 stumps. They basically died within a week. It yellowed up and fell off. So I have 2 stumps in there. Hang on, let me get down on the floor. He's got his own name tag. How cute is that? So this one is doing okay. I'm not going to pull it out, but the wet stick basically put out a new growth point here, a new baby. And the other one here isn't doing much. Let me pull this out actually. Yeah, but it's rooted in there, so hopefully something will appear. I don't see any growing eye, and maybe that is a growing eye, sorry. It looks like it's covered in something though. Maybe it's mealybugs. And you see the white stuff? Yeah, I'm gonna clean that up. I think that could be mealybugs. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna clean that up. Hopefully that will grow. It's gonna take a long time. Wet stick propagations take a really long time, you guys. You have to be very patient with them. The propagation would be much better off if the leaf was around, but we don't have that, so yeah. Here are 2 more cuttings. I don't know where the third one is. It may have died, or it may be one of these things. I'm not sure. I don't really label them. I have a feeling maybe that one died. I'm not sure. So I put this here because the sharoniae leaves are so big. When the wind blows, it's just gonna topple everything over in the area. So this leaf is doing fine, and it's put out a baby leaf, and unfortunately there was some damage here. Maybe the damage is just this leaf trying to, I don't know, fall into this cup or something, but I'm not sure. But it's a little bit damaged. I'm so sorry. And this one is doing okay as well. This one's a pretty big leaf actually. Look at that. So this one's putting out a new growth point here. Let me get closer to it. Yeah, so it does antifungal, fungicide, I mean, that I just sprayed around all my plants. So this is gonna take a while to open up. And finally, hang on, let me put this back before I forget. Yeah, I need to be careful, because if I put it here and then the leaf hits the top, it may break off. So I need to keep my eye out on this thing. So finally, the parent plant is right here. These, I believe one of the leaves just opened up while it was propagating. And this one recently opened. And look at all these ants, they're so busy here. And all that extra floral nectaries, all these yummy extra floral nectaries. And you know what, let me take it out and show you the front. Okay, as I knock into things. Yeah, so this is the parent plant. It's going to continue putting out big leaves. So hang on, sorry, this is not the parent plant. What am I talking about? Sorry, this is the top cutting. So the top cutting is going to continue producing big leaves because it is from the top cutting. So that new leaf is pretty much maintained its size. So this is one that I'm going to be keeping for my personal collection. It's not for sale. But let's quickly look at the parent plant. I believe it's downstairs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the parent plant. And from where I made the final cut here, I counted 3 leaves that formed and a 4th one coming along the way. So these are the leaves. They're a little bit smaller than the ones that were the top cuttings, of course, but this is going to be a healthy plant. I'm surprised it did not branch out, but it may branch out at some point in the future, hopefully, because there's more than one node, I remember, down there. So I guess these guys are actually quite slow to propagate, but then they do bounce back easily, and if you're established like this one, they do grow pretty fast. For 3.5 months, 3.5 leaves. So that's about 1 leaf per month. Not bad at all. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys are caring for your plants and propagating them. And if you're collecting rare plants, definitely do propagate them and share them with people so that everyone can have one of these at least. And the prices will come down if it becomes more common, because this is truly a beautiful philodendron. Imagine how big these can get and beautiful, and they're not very hard to care for at all. So I'm at Botanist on Instagram if you want to DM me on any questions regarding plant care and propagations. I'll try my best to get back to you. Meanwhile, do take care and stay safe. I will see you in the next video. Bye!